The technology for rice fortification continues to evolve. For this reason, rice mills throughout the world differ in their rice fortification methodologies. The primary options for producing fortified rice include dusting, coating, and extrusion. The dusting process for rice fortification is similar to the methodology used to fortify wheat or maize flour. Premix, a powdery blend of fortificants, excipients, and anti-caking agents, is released through a piece of equipment called a feeder as unfortified rice kernels pass underneath. The rice and premix are then blended together to make fortified rice. Premix adheres to the rice kernels by electrostatic forces only. Thus, the likelihood of nutrient loss is high, especially when the fortified rice is rinsed prior to cooking, or when it is cooked in excess water and then drained. Dusting is only practiced in the United States of America at this time, and is not advisable for most countries due to rice preparation norms. Because the dusting method leaves fortified rice susceptible to nutrient losses, it is common for bags of fortified rice sold in the United States of America to warn against rinsing before cooking and draining after cooking. The next two rice fortification technologies, coating and extrusion, follow the process outlined in this flowchart. Paddy rice is milled into polished rice, also known as white rice. During the milling process, some of those unfortified rice kernels are broken. Next, coating and extrusion technologies transform milled whole rice kernels and/or the broken rice into fortified kernels. Subsequently, the fortified kernels are mixed with unfortified rice kernels at a prescribed ratio based upon the nutrient content of the fortified kernels. Typically, the ratio is between 0.5% to 2%. A ratio of 1%, for example, is equal to one fortified kernel for every 99 unfortified rice kernels. The rice that results from mixing fortified kernels with unfortified rice kernels is fortified rice. One way to make fortified kernels is to coat unfortified rice kernels with a vitamin and mineral blend, plus edible gums and/or waxes. Multiple coating technologies exist. The resulting fortified kernels have different outcomes. In coating, all nutrients are on the surface of the fortified kernels. Thus, fortified rice that includes coated fortified kernels is still susceptible to water-related nutrient losses, but to a lesser degree than rice fortified by dusting. Some coating applications are considered rinse-resistant. However, cooking this type of fortified rice in excess water that is later discarded is not recommended. One advantage of fortified kernels produced through coating is that they have the same shape and density of unfortified rice kernels. This technology is utilized in Costa Rica, the Philippines, and the United States. Another way to make fortified kernels is using extrusion technology. The extrusion process begins by milling rice flour from broken rice like you see on the left in this picture. The rice flour is combined with vitamins, minerals, additives, and either water or steam to make dough. The dough is pushed through a pasta press or an extruder to produce fortified rice-shaped kernels. There are three types of extrusion: cold, hot, and warm. I'll expand upon these momentarily. With extruded kernels, micronutrients are predominantly on the inside of the kernel. This characteristic helps to reduce water-based nutrient losses. As I mentioned, there are three types of extrusion technology: cold, hot, and warm. Cold extrusion relies on a pasta press and is achieved using temperatures from 30 to 50 degrees Celsius. In fact, the process is similar to that used for making pasta. Notably, the low temperature requires binders in the kernels to ensure that they keep their shape when cooked. Cold extruded kernels appear opaque and are best used to fortify long-grain rice varieties. For hot extrusion, a single or twin-screw extruder can be used. The dough is preconditioned, and the kernels are formed using temperatures of 80 to 110 degrees Celsius. Hot extrusion partially cooks the kernels, which acts to bind the kernel ingredients together. As a result, binders are not needed. Warm extrusion is a somewhat non-specific term used to describe processes that are hybrids of both cold and hot extrusion. Warm extrusion requires either a pasta press that can handle elevated temperatures or an extruder. The temperature range is typically 60 to 80 degrees Celsius. Fortified kernels produced at the lower end of the temperature range may benefit from a binder, whereas those produced at the high end may benefit from being preconditioned. Hot extrusion is the most energy-intensive extrusion option. However, it produces fortified kernels that are more translucent than those produced using cold or warm extrusion. The resulting sheen makes hot extruded kernels look the most similar to unfortified rice. To summarize the extrusion process, let's watch this brief video produced by Path, which features fortified rice sold in Brazil.
To be healthy, we need a diet rich in vitamins and minerals. Unfortunately, the majority of us aren't able to get what we need through the foods we eat. But we all like rice. It's natural and we eat it every day, sometimes with beans, sometimes with meat, for lunch, for dinner. So perhaps rice is the best vehicle to carry these needed nutrients. Yes, by adding natural vitamins and minerals to rice after it's milled, we can fill our nutritional gaps and enjoy the benefits of a complete and healthy diet. This is how vitamins and minerals are added to rice. We take some rice flour, mix in vitamins and minerals and some water, and make a dough. We pass this dough through a machine that cuts the dough into rice-shaped grains, just like pasta is made. A small amount of these grains are then mixed with milled rice, and voila! We have vitamin rice. It's super tasty rice that looks the same and cooks the same as traditional rice. The rice is fortified using natural ingredients, not through genetic modification. And you can buy it the same way, in your supermarket or local grocery store. So when we choose our favorite brand with the Arroz Vitaminado seal, we can fill our family's nutritional gaps while enjoying the rice we already know and love. Vitamin rice is fortified using natural ingredients. It's good for you and your family.
The most widely used and accepted method of rice fortification at this time is the extrusion method. For that reason, the remainder of the modules will focus on that form of technology. Please note, however, that most topics discussed in this training tool are applicable to rice fortification programs based on the dusting or the coating methodologies as well.